Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna. Yesterday, we had a very interesting class, and we had lots of questions, and we couldn't answer all the questions. They just kept coming and coming. So I asked the devotees if you would like to save those questions, and then we can discuss today. And you may remember that we read something which I found quite interesting. We had read that Prabhupada said, if you take your next birth on this planet, even in an aristocratic family, to continue your bhakti, you may not continue your bhakti. You may get deviated, and it's better if in this life you suffer in a way that you want to finish your business in this life. That would be better. And then we said, yes, so we should pray for that. Did any of you pray for that yesterday? Did you pray, Krishna, whatever you want to happen, let it happen? Did any of you pray that way? If you didn't, you should. That's the right consciousness. So hold on one second. I'll be right back. I have to slide over here, turn something off. Yes. So, yesterday there were lots of questions, and if you can remember those questions, or if there's a way to go back to yesterday's class and someone can scroll down and you can go back and see your questions, or one devotee can do that. Otherwise, if you remember your questions, then I want to start the class today with your questions, and we'll just go as long as you have questions. Of course, your questions came in the context of what I was talking about yesterday, so naturally there were more questions. In any case, please write your questions, what those questions were yesterday, because there were a few questions, like 3 or 4 or 5 questions I couldn't answer, because we had to stop, because yesterday I had to start another class. Yesterday was Sunday. I had to start another class at the end of this class, so I had to stop a little earlier. I didn't have the luxury of going forward overtime like we often do. So there were a lot of good questions, and questions and answers are important. So that's what we're going to do today. I will chant Jai Radha Madhava. I will give you a chance. Kamaniya, is it possible you could go to yesterday, you could go on my Facebook, well, you're on my Facebook page, you could go check the videos and go to the end of scroll to the end of yesterday's videos and note those questions? Because I don't see that anyone has yet written their questions down. Yeah, and I did something with Facebook, so hopefully that will solve some of the problems we were having before. And I will chant Jai Radha Madhava now. And while we're doing that, we're going to try to get those questions. Okay? Okay. That's what's happening. And we have some more things we can read as well. But I wanted to start with the questions. And then yesterday I sang you a song. You remember? Sri Shastri. It was your lucky day. Okay. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Shodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Gopitana Vallabha Giridharadhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jesus Shoranandana Vrajajanaranjana Shoranandana Vrajajanaranjana Shoranandana Vrajajanaranjana Shoranandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Everyone, Jir Radha Madhava, Jir Radha Madhava, Jir Radha Madhava, Jir Radha Madhava, Jir Radha Madhava. Shri Radha Madhava ki jai. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we're going to see if we have questions. Can you hear me okay? I'm using a different microphone. Does it sound better, worse, the same? You don't notice? Yes, Hare Krishna. Okay, so I'm going to scroll back up and see the questions that we didn't, and plus, thank you, Kamini, for doing that, and plus, of course, you can ask more questions if you didn't ask yesterday. Question from Ananta Shakti Prabhu. What is Krishna consciousness? Krishna consciousness is exactly what it sounds like. To be conscious of Krishna 24 hours a day. That's Krishna conscious. To be absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. In fact, we have a quote here, which I sent. Krishna Karshini, if you can put up that quote, we'll read that because it answers this question. It's what I sent yesterday. Must be the second thing that I sent yesterday. The second quote on the paper I gave you. So I'm just bringing it up. And I'll read that as an answer. This is perfect. It is called, the document was called When a Devotee Falls. So it's not the first quote, it's the second quote. This is a Srimad Bhagavatam class. June 16th, 1976. This is a perfect answer to this question. Always think of me, man mana. And who can think of Krishna unless he's a devotee? Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Who is non-devotee, he'll think of something else. Why I think of Krishna? In other words, if you're a non-devotee, why should I think of Krishna? Therefore, to stick to this principle, to apply the mind always in Krishna, that means he's a devotee. So, I don't know if you picked up on that, but Prabhupada is Hare Krishna, just checking. Okay, Prabhupada is defining a devotee in this sentence. So he's saying, for a non-devotee, they're thinking of something other than Krishna, and they're thinking, why should I think of God? What's the point? And then Prabhupada says, therefore, to stick to this principle, to apply the mind in Krishna, that means he's a devotee. In other words, Prabhupada's defining what a devotee is. His mind is always in Krishna consciousness. That's what a devotee, that's what it means to be a devotee. That's the definition of a devotee. What is a devotee? He always thinks of Krishna. That person who's always thinking of Krishna, he's a devotee. That person who's never thinking of Krishna, he's something other than a devotee. Well, he's a devotee of something, but not a devotee of Krishna. So, this is devotee. Okay, so I have to read that two sentences together so it'll be more coherent in what I'm trying to say. Therefore, to stick to this principle, to apply the mind always in Krishna, that means he's devotee. This is devotee. In other words, this is what it means to be a devotee. Devotee means not with 4 hands and 4 legs. Sometimes Prabhupada would say this, like, you're liberated, you have 4 hands and 4 legs. And in other words, it's something external. If you just have something external, it doesn't mean you're a devotee. No, the hands, legs are the same, but his mode of thinking is different. That's all. This is devotee. This is nice, isn't it? So it's, Prabhupada's saying, externally, it's nothing external to be a devotee. You might be doing the same thing you did before you were a devotee. But the difference is now you're thinking of Krishna. And what does it mean to think of Krishna? We've discussed this before, but this is an important distinction about what it means to think of Krishna. And one time, I'll explain the distinction. One time, very early in the movement, a devotee, he got a harmonica holder. And a harmonica holder is, it's a metal piece you put on your neck, and it has a place where the harmonica goes. So, and you just move your head up, you can sing, and the harmonica is right here, and you just go down and you can play it. Bob Dylan used to use that. You'd sing a verse. Are the birds free from the chains of the skyway? And then he would, and then he, play the harmonica. So a devotee, he put a picture of Krishna on a harmonica holder so he would never forget Krishna. So he could always think of Krishna. What do you think of that? And Prabhupada said, no, that's not the process. It's not artificial. Of course, it'd be kind of hard to function normally if you just had this picture in front of you. But when Prabhupada says a devotee is one who's always thinking of Krishna, you could also substitute thinking with the word seeing. A devotee is one who's always seeing Krishna, just like in the Gita, Krishna says, one who sees me everywhere and everything in me, I'm never lost to him, he's never lost to me. So the idea is a devotee cannot see anything without being reminded of Krishna. Interesting, right? He can't see independent of Krishna because Krishna's energy is everywhere. Krishna's in every atom. Everything belongs to Krishna. So he cannot see anything other than Krishna. Now, sometimes in Ananta Shakti, you might see something and you think, that looks good, I'd like to enjoy it. It could be a flower, I like to smell it. It could be a piece of, it could be some food, I'd like to taste it. It could be a sound. Listen to that sound, let's go. Some woman is singing so beautifully. Oh, it's so nice, let's go listen. Or it could be something visual. Wow, look at that, beautiful sunset, let's go look. That that is what it means to not think of Krishna. Because as soon as I see those things, I think the center of enjoyment is me. So those things are for me. So I become the center of enjoyment. The center. I walk around this world thinking, wow, let's taste this. Let's look at that. Let's listen to this. Touch this. It's really soft. Smell this. It's very fragrant. So everything's about me smelling, me touching, me tasting, me seeing, me hearing. Think about deity worship. You're offering fragrances to Krishna. You're fanning Krishna. Cool his body down. Touch. The fragrance, the nose. The light up. Krishna, but Krishna can see the light, of course. Ringing a bell. Nice sound for Krishna. So for a devotee, when he sees the flower, if by chance you smell the flower when you're walking by. I lived in South Africa. When I lived there, I remember sometimes being 6 feet away from a bush of fragrant flowers, and you could smell it like you were right next to it. And it was very intoxicating. Amazing fragrances, like actually affected the mind. You could feel your mind being affected by the fragrance in a good way. So then we think, well, that fragrant flower, that's amazing. We could offer these to the deities. Or look at that ripe mango. We could offer that to the deity. Or look at that beautiful sunset. That's Krishna's eye. Or look at that beautiful woman. Wouldn't it be nice if she was a devotee? Because when she'd go on Sankirtan, everyone would just stop in their tracks, and whatever she said, they would do. Take a book, sir. Yes, madam. Whatever you tell me. That Prabhupada said the women are our secret weapons. And I was sometimes jealous of the women because I would have a hard time distributing books to all these businessmen. And the women would say, "Excuse me, sir." And then the men would just stop. Yes, we have a book. Okay. Can you give a donation? Okay. And I'd say, "Excuse me, sir, get out of here. Don't bother me." And I'd be thinking, I wish I was a woman. Maybe I should dress up like a woman and go out on Sankirtan. I'd do better. So, in Ananta Shakti, you see this beautiful woman and you think, if she went on Sankirtan, she could distribute a book to every man on the planet. They'd all stop and do whatever she said. In the story of Putana, you know the story of Putana. Putana dressed herself up. She was actually a witch. Big and ugly, but she had mystic power. So she appeared as a very beautiful woman, and she just kind of walked right in Krishna's house. It's like, who's that? I don't know, but she's beautiful. Okay, she's beautiful. Let her walk in. So Prabhupada was saying that if a woman is very attractive somehow or other, that beauty makes her acceptable to everyone, and everyone trusts her and believes her and likes her. Now that's how Putana got in. Oh, this is a beautiful woman. She wants to feed Krishna. Okay. So you see a beautiful woman in Ananta Shakti and you think, if she were a devotee, that would be really good. She could influence a lot of people. You don't think, oh, maybe, is it okay? I could get a second wife. She's so beautiful. Yeah, you could get a second wife, but the problem is your first wife would kill you, so you wouldn't be able to enjoy the second wife. So that's what Prabhupada means when he says he always thinks of Krishna. He can't see anything other than this is Krishna's and this is for Krishna's service. So when you see everything's for Krishna's service, then you just naturally, you look at it, you think, oh, okay, this belongs to Krishna. I'm supposed to use it for his service. So naturally there's this connection. Or just like today, oh, you should have seen it last night. It was so clear here. Because of the coronavirus, there's no flights going around. There's very little traffic. So the air is so clear. Last night, it was like you could touch the moon. I'd never seen it so clear. I've never seen the stars so bright. Maybe it was Akshaya Tirtha was special, I don't know. But So you look at that and you think, if you're a devotee, you think, yes, Krishna, you're amazing. You created all this, and it's so beautiful. That's a devotee. So that's what Prabhupada means when he says, devotee is one who's always thinking of Krishna. That's what it means to be a devotee. A devotee can't not think of Krishna. And so we should understand, as soon as we're not thinking of Krishna, who are we thinking of? Who are we thinking of? Me, number one. Numero uno. If you're not thinking of Krishna, who are you thinking of? Here I am, everyone. It's me, number one. Yeah, that's the problem. And what's the problem with pride? You can bow down now to me. Here I am. That's the problem with pride. Here I am, everyone. Did you notice me? Did you notice my new dress? Do you notice how good I look? Do you notice how nicely I speak, how nicely I walk? Do you notice how nicely I do everything? Did you notice? It's numero uno. That's the difference, right? So when Prabhupada's saying a devotee can't think of anything other than Krishna, because he's not trying to imitate Krishna anymore. He's trying to give everything back to Krishna. He's trying to put Krishna in the center. So when we get out of the center, everything goes to Krishna. When we stick in the center, oh, that's a nice mango. Ooh, let me eat it. That's a nice sunset. Let me look at it and enjoy it. That's a nice song. Let me listen and enjoy it. That's a nice whatever. That's a nice this. Let me use it to enjoy. No. A devotee thinks, oh, that's a nice this. Can it be used for Krishna? And if it can't be used for Krishna, it's not a nice this anymore. It's no longer nice. What's the use of it? I can't use it for Krishna. So that's how you think of Krishna. One who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me is never lost. I am never lost to him, and he's never lost to me. So a little adaptation or expansion, purport. One who sees that Krishna owns everything. One who sees that everything is meant for Krishna's enjoyment. He's never lost to me. I'm never lost to him. He's never lost to me. He's never lost to me. You can't be. So that's how you're Krishna conscious 24/7. You look in the sky. Well, it's so beautiful. Well, who created it? So that's what it means. Let's continue reading. Let me start from the top, because after I explained all this, maybe reading this again will penetrate a little more. Always think of me, man mana. And who can think of Krishna unless he's a devotee? Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Who is non-devotee? In other words, whoever is a non-devotee, he'll think of something else. Why should I think of Krishna? Therefore, to stick to this principle, to apply the mind always in Krishna, that means he's devotee. This is devotee. Devotee does not mean with 4 hands or 4 legs. No, the hands, legs are the same, but his mode of thinking is different. That's all. That is devotee. Devotee does not depend on the country, color, or religion, or circumstance. Devotee means the mind. Devotee means the mind. That's an interesting statement. We understand now what Prabhupada means. Anyone who is always thinking of Krishna, he is devotee. That is the first qualification of a devotee. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Therefore we have to practice. Abhyasa yoga yuktena. So Prabhupada speaking in the context of we have to practice thinking of Krishna, because a devotee is one who's always thinking of Krishna. And as we become devotees, we have to practice always thinking of Krishna. Now there's one thing that we mentioned in previous classes which is not mentioned here, and I just want to touch upon this. One of the easiest ways to think about Krishna is to hear. So we have the process, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. So smarana means to remember. So when you hear, the naturally you remember. You think of what you're hearing, that's smaranam. Or you think of it later also. In addition, you think of it later, that's smaranam. So in order to have smaranam, you have to hear. So hearing is one of the ways we very easily can think of Krishna, just like now. We're hearing. So we're absorbed in thinking of Krishna. And similarly, or in the same way, or just a slight nuance of that, is talking about Krishna. When we talk about Krishna, we have to think about Krishna because we're talking about Krishna. We have to think, what am I going to say about Krishna? Right? So it's just like sometimes, if you've ever had the chance to speak to someone who's very interested in Krishna consciousness, and everything you say, and they're going, yeah, that makes so much sense. Yeah, I kind of, what you're saying is like, it's so true. I had that realization myself, and you're getting so inspired, and then you just want to talk more and more, and they're absorbing and they're listening, and you're talking more and more, and you're totally absorbed in Krishna consciousness. You're not thinking about anything else, generally speaking. So talking about Krishna, hearing about Krishna means thinking of Krishna. So this is also what it means. A devotee means the mind. His mind is always absorbed. And the non-devotee means the mind also, but the mind's always absorbed in how he can enjoy. You remember yesterday or the day before I was making a joke. I was saying that the residents of Vaikuntha, they have bodies that you can't distinguish their body from Krishna. If you go to Vaikuntha, you'll go up to them and you'll start bowing down, and they'll say, what are you doing? And you say, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. And they'll go, I'm not Vasudeva. Om Namo Narayana. I'm not Narayan. I'm just his devotee. Don't bow down. You say, but you look just like Vishnu. Yeah, because everybody here has a body like Vishnu. So I was joking, you want to be God and you come to the material world and you end up like a frog. And you start thinking, I wanted to be God and now I'm a frog. If I just would have surrendered to God, I'd have a body like God. So I got changed up, as we say. That was a bad purchase. Something went wrong somewhere down the line. I was trying to be God and ended up as a frog. Something went wrong somewhere down the line. I got to figure this out, And you give up everything for Krishna. You get out of the center. And then Krishna says, okay, come back to me. I'll give you a body like mine. Meditate on that. That is powerful. You're trying to be Krishna and you end up as a frog or we have, on our property, we have armadillos. They dig holes. We have probably 40 armadillo holes at least. And they have this shell on they look kind of like a tank. They have a shell, like a protective tank. They look strange. You ever see these strange animals? And you look at them and it's you're kind of appalled. They're just kind of ugly creatures. And there you are in the body of an armadillo, and it's like, how did I end up like this? I was just trying to be God, What went wrong? And then you go back to Godhead and you say, I wasn't trying to be God. I was just trying to put Krishna in the center, and now I have everything. So Krishna consciousness means to put Krishna in the center. This is the simplest definition I can give you. And material consciousness means put yourself in the center. Everything in this world is for your enjoyment. That is the definition of material consciousness, and everything in this world is for Krishna's enjoyment. That is a definition of Krishna consciousness, right? It's just like Ananta Shakti, you're a businessman. So you make money, and then you get money, and then you have to think, excuse me, what am I going to do with it? So ordinary person will think, well, I can buy a better car. I just made more money. I can buy a better car. I can buy a bigger television. I can buy a better this or a better that. I can take more vacations. And so that's naturally how people think. I can take that money and buy more enjoyment. Because all money is I mean, it's not all it is, but one definition of money, the way I see it, from a philosophical perspective, money is potential for enjoyment. Once you get money beyond your basic needs, then it's all potential for enjoyment. I need X amount of money to live, but I'm making twice that. So beyond that, that money is potential for enjoyment. And that's why having a lot of money and not using it for Krishna, or not having a plan to use it for Krishna, is dangerous, because when you have a lot of money, then you can think, what can I get with this money? I could build, I just got an inheritance, or business is good, I could build a swimming pool, then I could build this, and put another floor in the house, and we could have, a special theater room with a 48-foot screen, and, it's just like, isn't it? Isn't that the problem? So therefore it said the Brahmins, how much money they get, the next day they just give it away. They use it in Krishna's service. So a devotee, everything he has, he thinks, okay, it's good, I have extra money. Now we could do all these programs, because now Krishna's the center. You're not the center anymore, so you don't think about expanding your castle and kingdom. You think, okay, how could we spread Krishna consciousness? So that's the simple definition of what it means to be Krishna conscious, and what it means to be a devotee. One who puts Krishna in the center is a devotee. One who puts themselves in the center is not a devotee. Krishna consciousness, put Krishna in the center of your life. Material consciousness, you are in the center, and who knows where Krishna is. Where's Krishna? You ask someone, where's God in your life? Sunday at 10 o'clock, that's where he is. From 10 to 11, that's where he is. In church. What about after that? Not really. But Sunday, 10 to 11, yeah, that's where God is in my life. Ask the atheist, where's God in your life? There is no God. God is not in my life. So atheism is obviously the furthest distance you can get from Krishna consciousness. Where Krishna consciousness, Krishna is in your life at every moment. In atheism, Krishna is never in your life at any moment. Atheism is defined as wherever you look, everywhere you look, you cannot see God. And Krishna consciousness is defined as wherever you look, you can only see God. Isn't that interesting? That was a statement of Bhaktisiddhanta. The devotee sees God everywhere, and the atheist sees God nowhere. And the atheist says, how can you believe in God? And the theist says, how could you not believe in God? I'm seeing him everywhere. I mean, what's wrong with you? How could you not believe in him? No, how could you believe in him? I don't see him anywhere. Yeah, well, that's your qualification. That's what it means to be an atheist. You can't see God anywhere. And a theist cannot not see God anywhere. He sees God everywhere, in everything, in every little thing that happens. Just like sometimes we say, something happens and we say, Krishna's mercy. Divine arrangement. That was divine arrangement. Immediately we connect Krishna, right? The coronavirus comes and we're all thinking, okay, what does it mean? What's Krishna doing? Is it people's karma? Is it a sinister plot? We're trying to look at it through Krishna philosophy. That's what it means to be a devotee. You cannot not think of Krishna. You cannot not see Krishna in anything. And non-devotee, materialist, or specifically atheist, means you can't see Krishna in anything. You couldn't find Krishna for the life of you. You know that story? What was that story? Someone has to remind me that Krishna wanted to hide. Was it Krishna trying to hide from Kalyavana, or was it Krishna trying to hide from Kamsa? Maybe it was Kamsa. I can't remember. So Krishna's thinking, okay, I have to hide from him. Who was it? He was trying to hide, and Krishna's thinking, how can we hide from him? Oh, I have an idea. I'll go in his heart. He'll never find me there. Who was that? Was that Kamsa? Was that Kalyavana? I can't remember who it was. That's so funny, isn't it? That's so funny. Krishna's thinking, he's looking for me. I know where to hide. I'll go in his heart. it's impossible for him to find me. So the atheist says, God does not exist. I have not seen him. And we're thinking, you are such a fool. He's sitting in your heart and you can't even see him. What's wrong with you? Hello? Isn't it funny? Yeah. I can't see God. He's nowhere. Yeah, that's because he's sitting in your heart and you're blind. That's right. And so, and then Krishna says, my devotee sees me everywhere. He's never lost to me. And the atheist can't see me. My atheist friend cannot see me anywhere, and he's always lost to me. You just turn that verse around. One who never sees me in anything and never sees me anywhere is lost to me, and I am lost to him. That's atheism. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? I've never done that before. Turn Bhagavad Gita verses on their back. Turn them backwards. Where it describes a devotee, turn it backwards, it describes a non-devotee. That's interesting. For one who sees me nowhere and nothing in me, I am always lost to him, and he is always lost to me. That is so funny. Prabhu's, I think that was a jai-worthy statement. What do you think? You agree? Okay, so if I don't stop answering this question, we'll not get to any other questions. I think I answered it, right? That's my definition of what is Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Okay. And we're going to find more questions. Anuradha. This is from Bhakti J. Requero. If one finds a Srila Prabhupada book on a bookshelf, this can be considered agyata sukriti, because if those people get the book and they don't have an explanation from anyone, and they see the book as just another philosophy book, and maybe in another life, does this depend on free will? Yeah. So what he's asking is, because we have to go back to what we were talking about. We were talking about how any contact with Krishna consciousness is purifying, like a Jamil chanted in Narayan. But then I was saying, but any contact, you see the deity of Lord Jagannath, it says, you become free from sin. You take Charnamrita, you become free from sin. This, that, and the next thing, you become free from sin. So then we were saying, and Prabhupada said, it's not even a question, and he reads the book. If he just touches the book, it becomes purified, because the book is Krishna, or the book goes into his house. So it's like a deity going into his house. So that's the context of this question. So, Bhakta J. But in Spanish, you pronounce J like H, right? Bhakta H. Recuerdo. Okay. So now I'm going to read the question again in that context. If Prabhupada's books is in someone's house on the bookshelf, is that agyata sukriti? Agyata means without knowing, and sukriti means piety. Yes, of course. For most people, when they first come in touch with Krishna consciousness, they don't know it. They don't know what Krishna consciousness is. So whatever they do is being done with little or no knowledge. And obviously, the more you know, the better. The more you'll advance, the more you know. Obviously, better than looking at the book on the shelf is reading it, of course. But, you take prasadam, it's more powerful if you know what it is. You chant Hare Krishna, it's more powerful if you know what it is, of course. But agyata sukriti means you don't even know what it is, but you do it, but you get benefit. Not as much benefit as if you knew, but still you get benefit, yeah. Those people get the book, and there's no explanation. And they see the book as just another philosophy book. But because it's not just another philosophy book, if they read it, they'll understand that. Maybe in another life, yes. Maybe they'll become Krishna conscious in another life, later in this life. And he's saying, well, does it depend on free will when they decide to read the book, and if they decide to read the book and so forth? Yeah, totally free will. And a little bit of mercy of the devotee. What I would say, to answer your question from the point of view of someone who's giving Krishna to other people, the answer would be, yes, it's their free will, but we would always try to encourage them to use their free will. In the Bhagavad Gita, there's something very interesting. I don't know if you picked up on this. Krishna says in the Gita, don't disturb the minds of people. Just, if they want to engage in material activity, don't disturb them. And that is also Krishna's official position. Krishna gives instructions, but he doesn't disturb. He doesn't say, if you don't do this instruction, I will come with a hammer and smash you. In other words, you really don't have a choice. You have to do this. Krishna says, no. To Arjuna, this is what I recommend you do, but you decide. It's in the last part of the 18th chapter. I've explained this to you. Yacheshtasi tata kuru. Now you decide, what are you going to do? That verse is it's an interesting verse, because I often joke and say, what's your favorite verse in Bhagavad Gita? And I say, that's my favorite verse. Not seriously, but like speaking like an ordinary person, or maybe like an ordinary Indian. That's my favorite verse. Krishna says, do what you want to do. I've thus explained this confidential knowledge to you. Now, Arjuna, deliberate on it fully, and then do what you want to do. My favorite verse in Bhagavad Gita, that's it. Do what you want to do. Yeah, that's my philosophy. That's always been my philosophy. And Krishna has confirmed that what I've been thinking my whole life, do what you want to do, that's his instruction. That's not his instruction. And do what you want to do. Deliberate on it fully. And do what you want to do. Everybody, no. Do what you want to do. No, that's not what he means. What he means is, I'm not going to interfere. That's what he means. So and if you continue reading the Gita, in the next verse, I believe, or the verse after, he's saying, right after he says, do what you want to do, and he said, surrender fully. And if you need any help, I'll give you help. In other words, the connotation was, you are going to do what you want to do because you have independence, but I don't want you to do anything but surrender. That's what I want you to do. So when I say do what you want to do, it's like, you know what I want you to do, and you know, and I know, and we all know you're going to do whatever you're going to do because you have independence. So when Krishna says, do what you want to do, he's stating his official policy. Hello, everyone. I am God. This is my official policy. I give you instruction, and I give you independence to accept it or reject it. That is my official policy as God. That policy will not change. However, so Krishna says earlier in the Gita, don't disturb the minds of fruitive workers who are engaged in fruitive activity. In other words, don't interfere. It's their independent choice. Then you might say, wait a minute, but preaching means we're trying to interfere. And that's exactly true. And so Krishna's policy is don't interfere. Lord Chaitanya's policy is, excuse me, sir, hold on. Okay, I have to talk to you about what you're doing. You're wasting your life. So here's the holy name, chant it, and you'll get ecstasy. No, but I have to go to work. Just hold on a minute. That's Lord Chaitanya's philosophy. Excuse me, sir, you're interfering. They're going somewhere, and the devotee comes, excuse me, sir, you get in the way. Here's a little book. Here we have this program. We're chanting across the street. Why don't you come? We're interfering. That's what we do. That's what a preacher does. So when you're saying, when you're asking, will they by free will make a decision? Yes, that's how it works. And if you just wait for them to decide by free will, you don't know when they'll decide. They may decide in this life, depending on their past activity. But as a preacher, we want to help them decide. If I were you, I would actually read this book because it changed my life in so many ways, and it's changing the lives of thousands of people right now while we're talking, and it's changed the lives of millions of people who are experiencing happiness like they've never experienced before. And they're like, really? Yeah, this is amazing. You got to read this. Okay, I'm going to read it. That's what preaching means, to inspire faith, inspire people to act in Krishna consciousness. So a preacher if you look at it from this perspective philosophically, a preacher is interfering. That's what he's doing. He's disobeying Krishna's instruction to interfere. Don't interfere. Don't disturb their minds. We were just talking. Were we talking the other day? Maybe it was on this class or somewhere. Or it was another class. Oh, it was last night. Yesterday afternoon, we did a class. Well, it started at 11:30 in Columbus, Ohio, and the class ended with this topic of strong preaching, soft preaching, hard preaching. And Devotee was saying, sometimes Prabhupada preached very hard. There's a video that was on Facebook. Prabhupada was preaching in India. It was so heavy. You have to take birth. You have to take death. You get old. You get disease. If you surrender to Krishna, you go back to Godhead. Give up this material life. It was just screaming. So what was Prabhupada doing? He was saying, stop, think, stop your material activity. He was just interfering totally. It was disrupting their minds totally. And Krishna's saying, don't disturb the minds of the fruitive workers. And Prabhupada's pounding on the minds of the fruitive workers. And in that purport in the Gita, Prabhupada talks about this. How is it that a devotee is doing this, but Krishna is saying, don't do it? And Prabhupada is saying, because the devotee knows it's actually Krishna's desire that the conditioned souls go back to Godhead. It's actually his desire that we interfere. The devotee knows that. But it's Krishna's official position not to interfere. But a devotee can interfere, and Lord Chaitanya came as a devotee, so he could also interfere. So Krishna, that he holds that official position. You have free will. I don't interfere with your free will. You can use your free will to go up, sideways, or down. I'm not going to touch you. But I'm giving you the knowledge to go up. That's what I do. But the decision is yours. Do what you want. And the devotee comes in, no, don't do what you want. What you want is not good. Do what Krishna wants. Devotee interferes. So in that purport, Prabhupada said, the devotee understands ultimately Krishna wants to interfere, but his official position is he can't. But we as devotees, we can interfere. We don't have to take that official position. So we're disobeying that instruction in the Gita. Did you know that? By preaching, you're disobeying what Krishna said in the Gita. That is so interesting, isn't it? And another side point to this is that sometimes questions come up and say, wait a minute, Krishna says this, but in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's this. Mahaprabhu, by his coming and distributing Krishna consciousness, did contradict a few things, which were standardized for since the beginning of the creation. And Mahaprabhu comes and he kind of flips things around, flips them on their back. Now we're going to give out the mercy. Now this doesn't count and this doesn't mean anything and so forth. So sometimes you'll find these little or maybe big contradictions, because the contradiction is Mahaprabhu said, okay, forget this, and this. Now we're giving out the mercy. So that's where you get the contradiction. And this is one of the contradictions. Interesting, isn't it? That this is one of the, Krishna says, don't interfere. And devotee says, no, I know you want me to interfere. I'm going out to interfere. Excuse me, sir. Take a little book. Where are you from? Nice to meet you. You just stopped them. You just interfered with their life. They were on their way to do something. You've interfered. Now they're holding a Bhagavad Gita and they're looking at it. You've interfered. And if they take the book or they come to a program or they chant Hare Krishna, you really interfered. And if they come to a temple, interference is increasing. What to speak if they become devotees? Total interference. Yeah. So preaching really means to interfere with the independence of the living entity. Now, sometimes we see in our lives and the lives of people who become devotees very quickly, you don't have to do anything. They just become devotees. You just give them Krishna consciousness and they just take it up. Like you can see, they were devotees in their past life. And they were just waiting for it, and it comes and they're happy. Right? So, but for other people, it doesn't work that way. Hare Krishna. I have to get more light over here. I was just looking. We have darkness all around us on the right side. Let's get more light. We were getting too much light before. Okay. So now we're going to go to the next question. At the rate we're going now, we should finish class in about 6 hours. Okay. Going back. And I'm going down. I can see who's here. Should I chant all your names? Anandamoya, Adi. That's not her name. Adi. Gabriella. Dear Chaitanya. Marco, Marina, Nadia, Radim. Francisco, Adi. How come you don't have your devotional name, Adi? Vijaya Lakshmi. Ramdin. Shaima Saha, Kamaniya, Katie, Kitarina. Goshai, Krishna Karshani, Gomati, Ganga, Nadia, Nastya, Alvija. I can't even pronounce your last name, but it looks definitely Lithuanian. Am I correct? Alvija, Alvu. Looks Lithuanian to me. Let me know. Okay, so the next question. Okay, statement from Marco. Give up our service is a danger for us. To not fall down, we need to have service. Yes. So that was, these statements now are out of context of what we were talking about. So I can't remember the context of that statement. Maybe Marco, you remember. Statement from Vijay Lakshmi. Oh, we were talking about weak link. How question came, maybe why devotees fall down. Was that the question? And I said, or how to protect ourselves from falling down. I said, you have to know what your weakest link is. Weak link could be giving your remote control to someone else, that it destroys your routine. Yeah. Weak, the point I was making, which is such an important point, is you can be strong in so many areas of your life, but you have one weak link, and that weak link can destroy you. Sometimes I had a relative, and he was like 75, riding bikes like 10 miles, 20 miles, 30 miles, like super, super in shape. And then he died of cancer because cancer was the weak link, which destroyed everything. So it didn't matter anymore that he was healthy. So it works like that. So everyone's weak link is going to be different. And some weak links, like what Vijay Lakshmi is saying, it's more of an emotional weakness that becomes your weak link. And then you become controlled by other people. So that definitely could be a weak link because you have to introspect. So we asked you yesterday, consider what your weak link is and be aware of your weak link. And whenever you get near your weak link, you should run away. Maybe I have a sound effect. Hold on. It's time for some transcendental entertainment. We do have sound effects here. You remember the sound effect. All right, here's one sound effect. When you see Maya coming, get in a helicopter and get out of there as fast as you can. But that may not be fast enough. You might want to. We had this last one of them. We had this. It's like a spaceship. You want to get out fast. How about this? This is a good one. Okay, this will answer your question. When you see your weak link, when you are confronting a situation where your weak link can be activated, what do? Whoops, we lost it. Oh my! I was so excited about that. Hold on, how did that happen? That was Krishna's arrangement. this is what you do. That's what should happen when. That was supposed to be a siren. Oh, that was a real letdown, wasn't it? It's supposed to be a siren. So when you confront a situation where you see that I have this weakness that could be activated if I'm in this situation, then sirens should go off in your head. Danger, danger. I have to get out of here. Okay, that siren didn't sound good. Hold on. I have another one. You should take off as fast as you can, like a jet airplane. That's it. That's perfect. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're in a situation where you feel this is not good for me, I have a particular weakness, and if I don't get out of this situation, or if I indulge in this situation, it could be a problem. What should you do? You should take off like an airplane. Get out of there as fast as you can. That's all I can say. Or as we said, as I often say, this is another t-shirt. What do I do when Maya comes? Run as fast as you can. No, that's too long for a t-shirt. When Maya comes, run as fast as you can. That's it. I don't have running here, but I have a train. That was funny, right? You're supposed to laugh, right? Okay. Maybe I have to, every time I tell a joke, I have to hit this. Then we're really going crazy here, aren't we? Okay. Prabhus, it's time to get serious. Krishna consciousness is serious. It had to be serious, right? And then you read Krishna's Leela and you're like, Krishna's never serious. He's always joking and playing tricks and doing things. And you hear about his Leela and you're just sitting there laughing. And he's thinking, and your guru says, you have to be serious about Krishna consciousness. And they go, Maharaj, but when I hear about Krishna Leela, it's nothing serious. It's all fun. I don't understand. You have to be serious about hearing about the fun pastimes of Krishna. That's what I mean. Okay. So, we have a question. A question from Param. What does sattvic judging mean? What is constructive criticism? Yeah. So I began answering that question and I said that I needed more time. I think the best way to understand any kind of judgment, criticism, or anything that could be construed as not Krishna conscious is to evaluate the effect that it's having on you and the effect that it's having on the person that you're judging or the people around you. Because if something is sattvic or transcendental, it's going to have a sattvic or transcendental effect on you and everyone else. And if something is not transcendental, it's going to have another effect. Either if it's in the mode of passion or ignorance, it's going to have that effect on you and the people around you. So, if, let's say, a devotee is doing something and it's not good for them, and I talk to them about it, and they say, thank you, that really helped me. I really appreciate that you took the time to tell me, and I knew it was a problem, but I was having difficulty, and I really needed someone to tell me that. So then we know that I feel satisfied. My motive was to help them. I'm happy now. They're happy. Look at the result. So you want to judge things by results. And you might say, my motive is sattvic, but the result was not because they were not sattvic. Okay, but that's something to consider, right? Maybe you're in a pure mode, but they're not. So we want to ultimately judge by results And then, of course, you want to judge by your motive. Why are you doing it? What's the point? Are you just doing it to look good? You're just doing it to get back at this person? You're just doing it to pull them down? Well, if that's the case, it's going to definitely have a bad effect on you. And if they don't want to hear from you, it's going to have a bad effect on them. So you're going to come in with sattva and it's going to come back as tamas because they're going to become angry. So it's good that your motive is good. But it may not always work. So sometimes we have to be careful. Like sometimes we'll talk about something or we'll be concerned about something, but we can't do anything. It's so even though the concern is pure, the motive is pure, it starts to become tamasic in the sense that we're just talking about it, we can't do anything, and we're wasting time, because tamagun means wasting time. That's part of tamagun. So you ever been in a situation you're really concerned about something and you can't do anything? And you're always talking about it, long conversations with your friends, thinking about it, this and that. But you can't do anything. And at the end of the day, you look back and you think, I wasted so much time with that, and I realized that nothing can be done. So that would be a tamasic conclusion to something that started out with sattvic concern, but because you weren't analyzing it properly, you didn't realize that you're going to waste your time dealing with it, and nothing's going to happen. So it becomes tamasic. The other thing I would say, which is maybe a simpler answer, is just whenever you're judging or criticizing or whatever you do that you think may be Krishna conscious, but very likely could not be, just look at why are you doing it? Like, what's the whole point? Do you need to do it? Is it your service? Is it out of compassion that you're doing it? Is it to help somebody? Is it going to solve a problem? Is it necessary? All these questions have to be asked. Otherwise, it may be that you're doing it just because you're being influenced by some aggression, some anger, resentment, revenge, need to look good, need to pull somebody down, frustration, anger, need to blame, your own frustration with this person or with the movement, or your inability to handle a past event. It could be all those things, could be what's motivating you, or it could be more than that. It could be motivating you. So you have to analyze these things. So I think that's the proper answer. Next question. Krishna Karshani. Radhanath Swami said once that someone may be among devotees but not be a devotee anymore. He said that fall down is not always meaning leaving the association of devotees. You still could be in the association. That's interesting. Excuse me. I have to find where I left off. He said that fall down does not always mean leaving the association of devotees. It could be a kind of internal fall down. When I heard these words of Radhanath Swami, I thought that maybe I am among devotees, but maybe I already fell down, and I am not even aware of that. So Guru Maharaj, how do we know we do not fall down and we are still a devotee? Well, you know the story. This is such a funny story, and you can laugh. We will laugh together. I forget the context, but we're talking about something, and Giriraj Swami was saying, well, Prabhupada, but, and the but was like, Prabhupada made a statement, but if we think that way, sometimes it turns into Maya. And Prabhupada said, turns into Maya, you're always in Maya. Maybe we should just do 1 hour of laughing yoga, to kind of like get us out of the modes. Yeah. And then there's another story about that. When a devotee said, Prabhupada, sometimes I fall into Maya, and Prabhupada said, similar thing. No, you're always in Maya, and sometimes you fall into Krishna. You've probably heard both of those, right? They're kind of funny. We also have applause. Okay, that was a good joke. We need some applause. I once saw a devotee. He was a super talented devotee. He was preaching from his keyboard, and he was using all these sound effects. He said, like, sometimes you're in your car and you have to come to a screeching stop. And then he'd go on and he would explain the whole philosophy using these sounds on his keyboard. It was so good and funny. This devotee's amazing. Well, this is also what you do when you run into Maya. Right? First you scream and then you run. Okay. I was looking for applause. I guess I shouldn't applaud myself. That would be not right. So, the question you're answering, Krishna Karshani, can only be answered by you. Now, in a sense, a devotee never thinks he's a devotee. So the answer would be, I always think I'm not a devotee. But I know that's not exactly what you're asking. I think there's a lot about us that can be non-devotional. And we, in order to answer your question, really you have to understand very clearly what it means to be non-devotional. And sometimes in the name of devotion, we're actually doing something in a mentality that's not devotional. It's that mentality to enjoy. We're putting ourselves in the center. So, anytime you're putting yourself in the center, trying to draw attention to yourself, trying to explain to others how you're good at something, explain to others how you're right and they're wrong, anytime you're trying to pull somebody down, becoming envious of someone, these are all signs of I'm not a devotee. You might remember that I said at one time I was in Los Angeles when Prabhupada was giving a lecture. Actually, I was not one time. I was in Los Angeles for 3 months. Prabhupada gave a lecture every day. That was amazing. Incredible. Ascharyavat. You imagine, you're living in your temple and Prabhupada's in your temple and he gives the Bhagavatam class every day. So Prabhupada in that lecture, one of those lectures, said, if you are envious, you are living in the material world. If you're not envious, you're living in the spiritual world. And then he said, if you're jealous, you're living in the material world. If you're not jealous, you're living in the spiritual world. And so you could extend that, because Prabhupada has said this also in other places. If you're envious, you're not a devotee. If you're jealous, you're not a devotee. And then everyone is going to think, well, okay, hang up my bead bag, I guess it's over. I'm not a devotee. So that's not the way to take it. But, the devotee writes me, Dear Mahatma Prabhu, I've given up chanting japa. And I say, why? Well, because in the class you said if you're envious, you're not a devotee. So I realized I'm not a devotee, so why should I chant? It's not to be taken that way, but to be taken as a reflection that if I'm thinking this way, this is how a devotee does not think, or this is how someone who's not a devotee does think, and I should work on not thinking the way non-devotees think, and I should work on thinking how devotees think. That's how it's to be taken. So we have to understand all the non-devotional symptoms to know if I'm acting like a non-devotee. But one of the things that I think is most important for us as an organization is Prabhupada really, I think he was more concerned, much more concerned about personal ambition than anything else. Because personal ambition, Prabhupada said, if you have personal ambition, if you're using the Krishna consciousness movement to fulfill personal ambition, then that's not Krishna consciousness. And not only is it not Krishna consciousness, it's destructive to the Krishna consciousness movement. So I think that's really maybe the most important thing we can look at. Because even if you're envious, you might say, I know I'm envious and I don't want to be, but it's so hard to control. But personal ambition you can control. Are you doing this so you can get some position, some honor, some recognition, something? And, as conditioned souls, the answer is often, maybe, probably, somewhat, some degree. Yeah, because that's what it means to be a conditioned soul. So why am I doing this? Am I doing it? Why am I giving this class? Am I doing it so you'll all like me and think, oh, Mahatma Prabhu, he's so funny and he's so smart and he's so good at this and that. That's personal ambition. I don't even care if you become Krishna conscious. All I care about is that you like me and I get more whatevers, hearts or likes or thumbs ups or shares. Fortunately, I'm so old I can't even figure out how Facebook works. So, people tell me, oh, this video has a lot of likes. So I go, whatever. What does that mean? Of course, I understand it, but it's like, whatever, Whatever. So, this is really where Prabhupada was, I would say, of all the things that I said, material desire and envy, and you're in the material world. But of all those things, it was ambition, personal ambition. That's what Prabhupada was really, really concerned about. So I think that's really a good place to start. If I am an ISKCON to fulfill my personal ambition, then I could say, I don't really think you're a devotee. I think you're in the wrong movement. I think you need to go into politics or something, or start a business, or try to become famous at doing something. But if I've often said, you don't join a spiritual movement to inflate your ego. You join a spiritual movement to deflate your ego. And so a lot of times when you come to ISKCON, you will get a guru or a senior devotee to do a serious job of deflating your ego. And it can be extremely painful. And sometimes you may get upset and you may want to run or complain. And you won't look at it in that sense that he deflated my ego, or that wasn't fair and that wasn't nice. But if we look at it that way and say spiritual life means to actually destroy the false ego. So if someone's helping me destroy the false ego, I should be thankful. I should be grateful. That's what I've come for. That's what I signed up for when I signed up. Okay, you want to be a devotee? Yeah, sign right here. What am I signing up for? Ego deflation. Oh, I didn't know that. If I would have known that, I don't know if I would have signed up. What else did I sign up for? Loving people you hate. Loving people that hate you. Really? I signed up for that? Yes, that's what it means to be a devotee. What else did I sign up for? Serving the people you're envious of. Oh my God, are you serious? I signed up for that? Well, if I would have known, I probably never would have become a devotee. So, maybe we can call this lecture learning what you signed up for. You sign up a contract and you think, okay, it's an insurance policy, it's going to cover everything. Then the tornado comes and say, didn't you read the fine print? It says that you're not insured against tornadoes. Oh, great, thanks. So, didn't you read the fine print when you became a devotee? What did I sign up for? You mean I signed up to love people that hate me? Are you serious? That's what I signed up for. Yes, Prabhu, that's what you signed up for. Oh, my Govinda, why didn't anybody tell me? Didn't you read the books before you signed up? Well, I did, but I didn't realize it. Well, you signed up for a serious course in ego deflation. So, if we just understand that spiritual life is meant for deflating the ego, not pumping it up, then everything will be good. Everything's clear, right? So then when some guru, some senior, some even friend accidentally or on purpose deflates your ego, then you'll think, okay, that's what I signed up for. Thank you, Prabhu. I needed that. My ego was a little bit swollen last week because I just did A, B, and C, and everybody was liking it, and I got so many views. I was suffering from ego swelling. So thank you for rubbing this anti-inflammatory cream on my false ego, even though the cream was burning. Thank you for doing it, because I feel much better now that my swelling of my false ego has subsided. Whoa. So, yeah. So when you know what you've come to spiritual life for, then you can start evaluating. Am I actually a devotee? What am I? Look in the mirror. Are you a devotee? Are you really a devotee? I'm not sure. It's like, why did you come to ISKCON? Why are you still here? Are you here? Are you still here waiting? Maybe one day I'll become famous. Sometimes Prabhupada would say about a devotee, I will not mention his name. He said, yes, he was waiting for me to die so he could become guru. Hare Krishna. I mean, can you imagine your guru saying that about you? I'm Hare Krishna. That's one of those. Hare Krishna. That's one of the... All right, we need a sound effect. Hold on. I need a list of where all these sound effects are so I can find them. Your guru tells you, you're waiting for me to die so you could become guru. Wow. That's like one of those sound effects from those old Hindi movies. They say, Kamsa, the 8th child of your sister will kill you. You remember those old movies? We try to watch them, and it's so hard to watch because they're so, I don't know what the word is, amateur by Western standards. They're getting better now. I'm waiting for the next Mahabharata to come out where you can't tell they're wearing wigs. And the Kshatriyas are not big, fat, and chubby, out of shape guys 45, with beer bellies. You've seen those? The Kshatriyas come in and it's just some big fat guy, 50-year-old fat guy with a fake beard and a fake mustache. And I'm looking at this, I'm saying, no, this doesn't work for me. This is not a Kshatriya. Because you know why in those old movies the big fat guy is? Because in India in those days the word healthy was synonymous with fat, because if you had money you could get fat, and if you didn't have money you couldn't get fat. You were just a poor farmer and you couldn't afford ghee and this, and you're just eating plain rice and sabji with a little oil. You never got fat, and you worked all day and you were skinny. But you had these other guys that had money and ate a lot and they got fat. And so, strength and health was considered fat. So you get these big Kshatriyas and they're fat. I'm looking at these guys. I'm saying, no, Kshatriyas didn't look like you. You're fat and out of shape. Hare Krishna. So, yes. How did I get on that topic? Oh yeah, that's because of the thunder. Your guru says, you're waiting for me to die so you could become guru. I hope your guru never tells you that. I hope you're never in a situation where you think like that. So I think really, this is the essence of this answer. Everything I said is true, but I think this is the essence of this answer is personal ambition. Prabhupada also talked about this. He said, sometimes the disciple wants to enjoy the property of their guru. Oh, when my guru leaves, we'll have this temple, and then, then I'll take over this project that he's running, and I'll have all these resources, and yeah. He said sometimes disciples think that way. And then the disciples fight over the resources after he leaves. We could do another play, right? The guru is, he's sitting, he's being put in samadhi, and then you finally put him in samadhi, and then right after he's put in samadhi, the disciples, okay, who's getting this center? Who's going to become guru? Who's going to get these disciples, And they're fighting, and then the guru blasts out of samadhi, all the dirt comes out, and he goes, I was just faking it. I wasn't dead. I just wanted to see how you're going to act after I die. You failed. You're useless. You call yourself disciples. Hare Krishna. Another video. Well, we have so many videos from these classes, right? Now we have to start a video business. And what's the company called? Laugh Your Way Back to Godhead. Okay. Hare Krishna. Question. What means sattvic judging? We did that. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. I will put up the quotes as Krishna Karshani is not at a computer. Okay. I am in the car on the way to the forest. I cannot share. I'm sorry. You're forgiven. It sounds like a song, Krishna Karshani. In the car on the way to the forest. Coronavirus is what? They put down the restrictions? Is rejection a symptom of attachment? Can be. Because Krishna says that attraction and repulsion are different sides of the same coin. You ever see somebody, Kishore Man, you ever see somebody like they really care about something and then they lose it or they can't get it and they say, well, I don't really care anyway. And that's not true. They're only saying that to try to deal with it in their mind. They actually said it because they care about it. Kishore Mani, okay, we need another sound effect for this. Maybe the thunder is good, So Kishore Mani, you're with your husband and your husband does something that just drives you crazy and you say, I hate you. Did you mean you hate him? Or did you mean, are you saying I hate you because you're actually attached to him? Yeah. So, I once told you all, I don't know if you all heard this, that I had this idea to write a song and the chorus was going to be, no one ever hated me who didn't say they first loved me. That's the way it works. That's the answer to your question, is my song. Now we have to write, well, what's the song? Okay, now we need a song. I don't have the song. 'Cause nobody hated me who never said they didn't love me. It's 'cause nobody hated me. 'Cause nobody hated me who never said they loved me. Yeah, nobody hated me who never said they loved me. It's true, isn't it? Have you had that experience? That someone who really hates you is because at one time they really loved you? Well, that was going to be my hit song with which I was going to support myself, but I never wrote the song. But anyway, that's my answer. The answer is yes. Okay. That was the right quote. Vijay Lakshmi, can very senior devotees, second initiated, fall down? Anybody can fall down. But what if they cannot see that they are falling down? Only you can see. You must be more advanced. Because of false ego, then what? How can we respect them? Oh yeah, we had that question yesterday. How can we respect that person? Sometimes when I read these questions, I think, well, the answer to that question is you have to answer that question yourself. How can I respect? We should respect everyone. We should respect everyone. And I think I was saying yesterday, how do you define fall down? How do you know they're falling down? Is it just your perception? Is that what you're seeing? And then you need read Bhagavad Gita. Okay, here's my answer to you, Kamini. Read Bhagavad Gita 9:30 and then come back tomorrow and see if you have the same question. In fact, I want to read the commentary. If I can get the commentary, Vishwanath Chakrabarti, Kamini, see if you can get the commentary. Maybe I have it here. Hold on. It could be your lucky day. I thought I brought... I could have sworn I brought... my Govinda. I thought I had the book, which would have had the commentary. Yes. Don't go away. This will answer your question. And we have 5 minutes to answer this question. And tomorrow, just save your questions. If someone could do a screen print with all the questions or somehow. Okay. This is amazing. I'm glad you asked this question. Questions and answers are so interesting. Now this Bhagavad Gita, I have to find the verse because unfortunately they don't give you the chapter number on the top. They only give you the name, and the name is not necessarily the same as the name Prabhupada gave. But I think I got it. I think I know. Yoga of the Hidden Treasure. Yeah, that's it. You know the verse? Vijay Lakshmi? Even if a person is of very bad behavior, but he worships me with undivided devotion, he is to be thought of as saintly, for he has the proper resolution. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that no devotee of mine is ever lost. So there's a problem here. I will show you the problem. This is the purport. This is page 1 of the purport, page 2, page 3, and 3.5. So, I have just made a decision. We're going to discuss this purport tomorrow, and that will give me time to read, and then I can select the exact session, the exact portion that will answer your question. So, Vijay Lakshmi, that's for tomorrow. And if somehow I forget, I doubt I will. You'll remind me. And then we had this comment of Krishna Karshani, 2 out of 10 initiated devotees are around. And I said, well, it would be interesting to see what countries they're from, who their guru is, how many, do they have mentors, what the condition of their temple is, do they have Bhakti Vriksha programs? All these things would be really important in understanding. What to do to not fall down. Prabhupada said there is danger to fall down in every moment. Srila Prabhupada was often saying we should be afraid to fall down. Yeah. So we discussed that. What should you do? Scream, run, take a jet plane out of there. Be aware of your danger zone, Like you said, danger. What's your danger zone? Where, I was in Israel, and we were driving by it, and there was a fence. On the other side of the fence, it was Syria, and it said, beware landmines. You know what a landmine is? It's an explosive that you step on, you blow up, you go back to Godhead. Go back to Godhead immediately. I go, let me in there. Let me in there. Get me over that fence. I want to go back to Godhead. So, what are your landmines? What will blow you up? What will destroy your Krishna consciousness? You have to know them and avoid them. That's the basic idea. Okay, so, how many more questions? We have. What to do to not fall down? Okay. What to do not to fall down? Don't fall down. That's my answer. So Vihya, I can't pronounce it. I become Krishna conscious and would like to take a teacher. My husband doesn't understand. For him, I'm in a sect. Making a prasadam, not disturb his life, as how to be. Yeah, don't disturb him. Can I answer that question tomorrow? Were you going to come tomorrow? Because I want to give it justice, and I really have to go. Because I have so many things to do I'm not getting done, and I have to, I would actually like to stop this class at 9 o'clock. I have so much to do, but can I come back to these questions tomorrow? Would that be okay? We'll have these. This is a good topic. We've talked about so many things. It's good that we can ask all these questions. And then we'll talk about it tomorrow. And don't forget, nobody said they love me. Nobody said they hate me who didn't first say they loved me. Oh, 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 yeah. It's the duality of the material world. No one, he'll tell you they hate you. Of course you'll say, no, other people told me they hate me that never loved me. But, you understand what I'm saying. Like, when you're dealing with opposite sex, generally they won't say they hate you if they never said they love you. Isn't it? Okay, so thank you for listening. We're out of here, as they say in America. We'll see you tomorrow. Tonight, there's a class in Spanish for the devotees in Bolivia. And that's going to be put out there, but, we don't need English translation for the Spanish class. And the reason we don't need an English translation may not be obvious to you. So if it's a Spanish class, why don't you need an English translation? Because I speak in English, that's why. And then it's translated into Spanish. So if you want to attend that class, it's at 6:30 New York time. I forgot the topic. I'm not sure exactly what. It's for, where is it? Where is it for Guatemala? It's another country. They wanted a special class. So Radha Priya will put that up on Facebook, or it's already on Facebook. And you're welcome to come. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.